Welcome back to today's Woman Show. As always, my sponsors once more, Lydia Female Contraceptives with Lydia You Decide and Anoa Lovely Baby Diapers. I hope that you're ready to ride the next hour out with me. And we're going to be talking about nutrition and well-being. By all means, contribute to this conversation by sending us a message on our Facebook page or following us on Twitter. Now, before we get started, my guest this morning is a nutritionist who's been in the business for many years. Her name is Miss Bully. Here's a short film about her.
After practicing her craft for 24 years in Nigeria, one of Ghana's most experienced clinical nutritionists has moved back home. Yvonne Bully is an educationist whose fascination with healthy living led her to earn 2 diplomas in dietary therapy and clinical nutrition from the University of Manchester. In 1990, she established the Natural Health Services and Stress Management Consultancy in Abuja. Her consultancy is flourishing in Accra, where she treats and counsels people from all walks of life, using the knowledge she has learned over the years on the nutritional values of plants, fruits, and vegetables. Through her intense research into this subject over the past 23 years, she has been able to cure not only herself and her family from all manner of disease, but also hundreds of people. Yvonne has organized seminars and discussions for the staff of numerous companies, including the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation, the International Association of Lions Clubs, and Fidelity Bank Nigeria Limited. She is also a regular contributor to the health column of some of Nigeria's most popular newspapers. Even though she has a busy lifestyle, she still makes time to interact with her 3 grown-up children and her 4 active grandchildren. Yvonne Bully is a woman on a mission to inform as many people as possible about the power of nutritious meals to help the body combat diseases.
You're welcome to the show, Yvonne.
Thank you.
Now, we hear a lot about dietitians, we hear a lot about nutritionists, but obviously they're different fields, aren't they? What's the difference between a nutritionist and a dietitian?
A nutritionist is the person who knows the value of the food you are going to eat and its nutritional values and tell you this is good for you and this is not good for you.
Okay, so so then the dietitian does what? Isn't that
a dietitian teaches you when to eat some of these things and eating the right food at the right time.
So do I need both a dietitian and a nutritionist to be able to ensure that I have optimum health?
Yes, you do.
I do. So do you work in tandem with a dietitian, nutritionist? You work in tandem with dietitians. Now there's been a lot of talk about organic foods. You're smiling by the sound of that.
Yes, organic food. You know, these days Ghanaians, my people, have deviated from eating the natural things we used to eat. I don't know how old
like
you
what?
are now, but I remember that my parents, we used to go to the farm, come back home and cook our food very fresh. We never had access to
freezers.
Not fridges or freezers. We never had access to fertilizers for growing whatever we were growing in our farms. I knew my parents used to farm in a particular area of the lands for about a year or 2, then leave it, then go to the other side of it
to allow it
to manure itself.
Yes.
And then thereafter we'll go back again to plant our things, and we're having very healthy food. I can't remember when I last had fevers when I was growing up. I never had fevers, I never had headaches and all those things because the food we were eating were coming directly from the soil into the pots and into our bellies. So it was a bit, though then I didn't know how balanced they were, but because it was organically grown and we didn't have chemicals in them, they were nutritious enough to feed our cells and body.
These days people they want to harvest their crops quicker, and that's hence fertilizers, but they are damaging to our health, aren't they?
That's what is going on now. We are in a hurry for what we eat. People don't bother any longer how to spend time to choose cultivate and eat the right food.
We don't have the time, do we now?
Okay, you are in a hurry, so your heart will be in a hurry as well. You pick something to eat on the street, that's what is called junk foods. And junk foods create junk diseases. Diabetes and cancers and strokes and all that, they are on the increase now. When we were younger, when they say somebody had cancer, you will start thinking, what kind of sickness is that? Is it... We used to think it was coming from the white man's country. We didn't know it was part of our African sickness.
But isn't it also a question of stress related, all these diseases that we're feeling? Is it all nutrition based, or some of it is also stress related?
Stress is not a disease. Because one must go through stress. There's no way you can avoid it. The Bible said you will walk through the valley of shadow of death, meaning that we are going to face a lot of stress. But how the body should be able to cope with the stress so that it won't damage the system, that's what we should look at. Because there are a lot of food for every system, every part of our system. That's how God made it. Each organ must be fed with particular nutrients, which takes care of those organs to be able to function very well.
Food is very important to our general well-being.
Very, very important, because whatever you eat, the liver takes it, breaks it down into nutrients, and supply it to the cells.
Now, how do I know I'm getting all the nutrients I need?
If you are lacking nutrients, the cells will speak to you through the inside. That's the symptoms we go through.
Like what, please?
For example, you are not digesting very well. You cannot go to the toilet to open your bowel, you constipate. It means the digestive system is not functioning very well. And you need to look for what you should eat to help the colon to be able to help the liver to digest the food you are eating, so that you can open up your bowels the next day. Because we have eliminating organs, which help us to throw off waste from our system every day. The liver, the kidneys, the lungs. When you are running cold or catarrh, it's not a sickness. It means the respiratory system is full of toxins, and nature is speaking to you through the cold and catarrh that we need to throw off some of this waste. Taking a lot of antibiotics goes to suppress it, which can form another problem in the future, maybe leading to growth or something. What you needed to have done was to eat a lot of fruits, which are loaded with the kind of nutrients that can help you to flush more of those things out of your lungs or the respiratory system. But taking antibiotics, you are suppressing it down, which can lead to another problem.
So apart from, you've mentioned cold, for example, and knowing things like constipation and stuff like that, are there any other symptoms for us to know that we're not getting the right nutrition?
Diabetes is on the increase now. And a lot of children are eating, our mothers are too busy giving our children a lot of on the street food. If you go to hospital, the big hospitals now, you will see babies and infants, suffering from diabetes. Some of them are on insulin injections. Every 6 hours, an injection is on its way to the baby's body, which is very painful, just because we are careless about what we are eating. The common thing that tells us that it can lead to diabetes is sugar. And now parents are feeding their children with a lot of sugar. We have 6 killer foods. Number 1 is sugar.
What are the rest?
The second one is meat. Milk.
Milk?
Yes.
But milk comes from an animal.
That's why it is detrimental to our system. The vegetable source of milk is there. We can get soya milk, we can get almond milk, we can get hazelnut milk, different types of vegetables which we can get milk out of it. And they are in the market, but because we are not looking for them, we don't see it. That's why the Bible said, my people perish for lack of knowledge, because we are not making effort to make research on. People don't care about their body the way they care for their cars.
Would you say that dairy products in general are not good for us? Butter, milk, cheese.
If you want to see your eyes to be clear for you as you age, don't eat butter. It's one of the things that damages the eye very fast. I'm 66.
And you don't look a day over 55.
And I'm not using glasses because I was on glasses. I was almost going for an operation because I had a growth on my eye. But when I stumbled over this program and I began to realize that what I eat is what I look Then I started changing my eating habit, and I realized my eyesight was developing, getting better, and then I don't use glasses anymore.
My eyes are getting worse, but I don't eat butter.
You don't eat butter. Maybe you eat sugar. Maybe you take a lot of milk. Maybe you are taking a lot of fat food.
Maybe.
Nature doesn't lie. Whether you say no or not, is what you eat is the symptoms you go through.
It's who you are.
So we have white flour food.
You've told us sugar. You've told us meat. You've told us milk.
White flour food.
White flour. So we should stop.
That's the
cakes,
bread cakes, the meat pies.
Oh, I love
pizzas.
those though.
Now you are saying.
I love it. So you can't even say that you want to have a sample of it every now and again?
No, you see, if you make a habit of eating them all the time, then it becomes a problem.
But it brings me to a very interesting question, which is eating healthy is expensive. Or so it is deemed. Because I'm sure that the whole wheat bread, which you are advocating we buy, has a premium price compared to a white loaf of bread.
You are right.
Yes.
But I think the money we spend at the mortuary is more than the white bread and the wheat bread we buy. Because what it does is that it can cause a lot of constipation, leading to a very big problem in the digestive system. That's the white bread. But the wheat bread is a fiber, and the stomach works with fibers. The colon works with fiber, roughages. It helps you to digest quickly and throw off the waste from your system every day. So if you eat a white bread regularly, then you constipate. That means, each time you constipate, you are keeping a lot of toxins inside you, which can lead to cancer. Cancer is about death accumulating in the body. That's all is cancer.
So we should be able to rid our bodies every single day. All the time,
especially when a woman is in menopause or you're approaching menopause. You must not keep anything dirty inside you. You must keep detoxifying your system. Make sure you're eating a lot of food full of fiber, vegetables, fruits, so that you can open your bowels, urinate a lot, because you're no longer menstruating. That 28-day cycle God has given to us is a channel for a woman to throw off waste monthly.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Now, when you don't menstruate any longer, and the days goes 28 days,
it's still in you. The toxin is still in you. The toxins are still in you.
And 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years after you have menopause and you are no longer menstruating. So you are keeping these things in your system. And if you constipate and you don't pass the urine out regularly as well, there's going to be a big trouble for you. You need to open your bowels every day, at least 3 times a day.
You see, the funny thing is that I realized a while ago, I read on the internet, because there are always these things on well-being, how to get yourself rich antioxidants and stuff like that. And there's one thing called ABCs, apple, beetroots, and carrots, which you. But then the funny thing is that I realized it was not helping me as much, because I was sure that the apples, the beets, the carrots I was using were not organically grown. But because on the market, there's no, what's the difference? How do you determine what food is organic and what food is not organic?
You will know.
Organic ones are tiny, they're small.
In fact, when it is seasonal, fruits are in season, I go home and buy them and come back to eat. I just came back from Hawaii and I bought pear on the way, pawpaw and some oranges. And when we were eating them, they were so tasty, nice. And I was telling my children, you see the difference between this one and the one you buy in the city. We are all from the villages. We came to meet in Accra. So once a while, go to your village and buy those things and come home with.
I saw some lovely tomatoes in the market the other day. They were beautiful and big. Obviously, they filled with fertilizer.
That's it. Filled with fertilizer. So the last killer food are shrimps.
Shrimps? They're scavengers.
They're scavengers. They are the Zoom lions of the sea. They eat dirty things.
And yet they are expensive. And we love them.
And we love them. So if somebody has all these asthma or the spasm problem like epilepsy, convulsion and all of that, and you take that away from the diet, instantly the irritation ceases. The ear, the throat and all of that just goes away quietly without any effort, without taking any drugs. So why should we be killing ourselves just because we don't want to look for a way to take care of our body?
Because we need people like you to educate us. Welcome back to today's Women's Show. I'd like to thank our sponsors once more, Lydia Female Contraceptives with Lydia You Decide and Anoa Lovely Baby Diapers. Now, for those of you who joined the show, we're talking about nutrition and well-being, and I have Yvonne Bulle, who is a nutritionist, a very experienced one, with me here in the studio discussing stuff. We've talked about nutrition. Now I'm going to ask her personal things. And how did you are an educationist by profession. How did you get into nutrition?
Well, I went to London to do my master's in child psychology, the University of Manchester. And my cousin, whom we were sharing flat with together in London, was suffering from this pain in the knee then. I didn't know what it was. And during the cold season, it was terrible for us to sleep at night. Then in the summer, when we needed to, wear our short clothes and go out for some sunshine, and she would still be there mourning and crying. So we went to the GP one day and we got there late, 3 minutes late, and the nurse wouldn't attend to us. They said they had mentioned our name and we were not there, so she sent us back. And African way, you beg and kneel down and do all those dramatic things, which I was doing. And she said, well, we were late, so we're going to come back another 3 months' time to see the GP. On our way home, she called back and said, why don't you try a
This was the nurse?
Yes. Why don't you try a black lady, I think she was from Jamaica or somewhere. So why don't you try a natural therapist? And then it didn't make any sense to me because I was coming from Africa and we live among trees and you know what I mean. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, you can see these ladies are sitting in the wheelchair and this and that, blah blah blah. So if you want, you can try some natural ways to see if it may be useful to your sister. And then we took an address from him and I went to look for the place. And when we got there, the first thing the man said to us was for my sister to stop eating all these loaves I've mentioned to you now. And after that, he gave us some food supplement and some herbs. And made it point blank to us, she should stop eating all the junk food. And we got back home. 2 days later, I realized the pain was going down, down. And she started getting relief. We were able to sleep in the night. I wake up to go and do my work and go to school at the same time and all that. So then I decided that I must know more about this. That's how curiously, it was curiosity which led me into knowing this. So I find out what to do. Then I took up the course and studied clinical nutrition and dietitian as well.
So did you finish your child psychology?
Yes, I did.
You did?
Yes.
So you're a child psychologist, you're a nutritionist as well.
And a dietitian.
And a dietitian.
Yes.
Oh, so you're a dietitian as well.
Yes.
Now, I mean, when I read a bit about your bio, it actually said that you'd cured your own self and your family members of illness. Like what?
I wasn't going to even actually practice like setting up a place where people could come for consulting or counseling and all of that. I had wanted to just be useful to myself and my family. And continue quietly with my
child psychology.
Because it's very interesting when you study the kids, the way they behave, trace their parents in them, try to avoid certain things so that when they grow, they don't continue with some of the genes, the things they learn from their parents. I was doing that, but when I got this knowledge and I came back home, it's not easy for you to see somebody else who is not your family member not feeling too well and then you ignore it. So doing that step by step, it started spreading by word of mouth, and then people started coming to me, and I realized, no, I better set up a place where I could be useful to more people.
So you started here in Ghana?
No,
you didn't.
I started in Nigeria.
You started in Nigeria.
I came back home and my marriage got broken. I wasn't too happy, and I didn't want to stay, hang around for the pains I was going through then. And I had wanted to go very close by, like Togo, but the language barrier was giving me problems. So I went
ended up in Nigeria. So weren't you daunted by Nigeria? Most people sit down and think, "Wow, Nigeria." You know what I mean? I have a brother who went to Nigeria. He got there in the morning. He looked round, left, right. Says in the
Came back.
evening he's coming on the next flight. You know, he was that. He found the place
Nigeria
very
is a
good.
wonderful place.
Well, I mean, I think that it's not for the faint-hearted, though.
Nigeria is a wonderful place. You know, Nigerians, they are aggressive people. The Nigerian want to know if you are able to convince a Nigerian about what you are doing, he picks it up and goes for it. And they don't wait. You know, we Ghanaians, we are very slow in picking information and learning how to do something. But in Nigeria, as soon as the Nigerians understand that, especially whatever can fetch them money, they are out for it. They will go for it.
So how long did you live there for?
25 years.
So that means that you are totally Nigerian, actually.
Yes,
You
I
spend
am.
more of your working life in Nigeria than you have here in Ghana. What was it like working there? When you got there, for starters, settling, finding your feet, how easy was it?
It wasn't very easy, though. But what I did was I went to somebody I met in London.
Okay.
And when I got there, they introduced me to their pastor. So I went to the church, and then the church gave me a small accommodation.
Yes.
And then I became useful to the pastor. It started from there. The wife died during child labor, not knowing that she had asthma. And when she was in labor, she had an attack, and they had to do the operation for her, cesarean operation. During the operation, she passed on. So I went to the pastor and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, this is what I know how to do. I would have been useful to you and the family." He said, "Oh, my daughter is even on admission right now on asthma attack." So we went to the hospital, we talked to the people there, and they allowed us to take the child home. So I made a solution for her to drink, which made her to throw up a lot of mucus out of the lungs the next day. Then after that, she became well and she never had an attack again. So my pastor told the church members what God used me to do in his life. And then it started spreading. Then when I set up my office, it became easy for me to move on. Then the churches were inviting me to do health talk to pastors, pastors' wives, the youth, the teens, how to take care of them to avoid, because most of the diseases we suffer when we grow are childhood diseases which manifest at old age.
Okay.
Because of the things we feed our children on, it keeps, the arteries, every person is born with a very clean artery.
By all means.
And blood is flowing through, supplying to the brain and everywhere daily, 24 hours. But each time we eat all this type of food I've mentioned to you, it goes to form a plaque in the arteries. So it keeps narrowing until there is no free flow of blood through some of the arteries, and which leads to a lot of problems.
And can you
as
open? Is there something you can do to reverse that
Yes,
situation?
yes. For nature, when you change your eating habit, the reverse is the case. Suddenly, it keeps softening, hardening the plaques around the cells. Because when the cells have these hardening things around them, for instance, this table, let's assume that this white area is the cell. But to get in there, these are all hardened.
Yes.
So maybe nutrients get in, and the toxins can get out. But when you change your eating habit, this one begins to soften up, and the nutrients can get in, the toxins get out. That's how.
So it's all about eliminating toxins.
Eliminating toxins through the food you eat.
Through the food that we eat. What do we need to eat for our kidneys? I heard cilantro, which is parsley and things like that.
Parsley is excellent. Watermelon.
Watermelon.
It's a friend to the kidneys. Very rich, but watermelon is a very jealous fruit.
Okay.
People don't know that you don't mix the watermelon with other fruits the same day to eat.
Okay.
Those who do the fruit salad with the watermelon and other fruits mixed together.
We do it all the time. I do it all the time. We mix watermelon with pawpaw and pineapple.
Watermelon will destroy the nutritional values of the rest of the fruit, and itself won't give you anything. But if you eat it alone, you get the best out of watermelon. The whole fruit is very medicinal.
Even the
bark,
seeds?
the seed, and the juice.
I heard that about pawpaw. Someone said to me with pawpaw, the entire fruit, even the seeds are very good.
The seed, the best way of deworming your system is pawpaw seed.
So you grind it, or what?
You can dry them very well and grind it. And then when you make pap, you add it, you take a teaspoonful and mix with the pap. And give it to your children and yourself. You will see the kids, when they go to poo-poo, they bring out a lot of worms from their system.
That's interesting, because I always grew up thinking that seeds, of all the seeds, like watermelon seeds or pawpaw seeds, they were not good for our appendixes.
Wow. Yes, the appendix people who don't chew food very well, they go through all these problems. But the pawpaw seed, when you chew it very well, or you blend it into powder form and add it to your pap, then there's no way to find its way into the appendix.
Watermelon, interesting. Parsley, interesting. You know, the thing is about eating healthy is that there's such a passion for it. Everybody. I'm sure everybody. I don't know anybody who wants to die. Everybody wants to live as long as they can and live healthily for that matter. But our eyes are also, you know, they cause us a lot of damage because
what you see,
you
want to eat it.
Oh my goodness, you know, seafood diet. You know, you will see the food and you really want to eat it. But then you spent your most productive years. Well, I'm sure you still have a few more left. But the most of your very productive years in Nigeria. What then brought you home?
Yeah, home is home. There's nowhere like home. You can't stay far away for too long. And besides, when I was in London, I realized how fast business can move in Nigeria. And then I came back home and I was not happy. I was not in a good mood. Talking about health and food, and nutrition and the rest, you need to be in your mind too must be ready to pour what you have inside of you to the next person. But then I was having some emotional problems, so I decided to go to Nigeria, which was the closest English-speaking country
for you. But you
me.
made it home for 24 years.
If you calculate it very well, it's about 32 years.
Wow.
It's about 32 years. But because after 25 years, I was coming and going. So I tried to deduct that from it.
Okay.
So that's why. Well, I actually enjoyed Nigeria because they are very good people. If you know them very well. A Nigerian, if you are doing anything with a Nigerian, just keep saying the truth to a Nigerian. They may not tell you the truth, but if you tell the Nigerian the truth, you can hang on with them for a very long time, and you enjoy your stay in Nigeria. They are very good people. People went there to do other things. They may have stumbled over some toes, and that can lead to another thing. But me, I enjoyed staying in Nigeria. Sometimes I have homesick of Nigeria because, especially when I'm going somewhere, I'm driving out and our people are just very slowly driving on the road. They don't want to give you way to pass. And in Nigeria, you don't wait for anybody. You know what I mean? You just have to get out. If you are not going, give me way to go. And that was fun. We had a lot of fun. So I was telling you about the fruits for every organ.
Yes. For your heart?
For the heart, the kidney, because of the main, I want to hammer on that watermelon. You know, because the prostate is a very important organ. The wire, the life wire for a man. You know, when a man starts having sex from the age of maybe 15, 16, I call it curious sex. You know, you see your parent, maybe you
would have caught a glimpse of your parents.
Caught a glimpse of your parents and say, what is this they are doing? And then you also want to do something. Or the hormones start telling you that you should have sex. And you start experimenting. Each time you drop sperm from the prostate, you must eat certain food to replace the sperm back into the prostate. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
You're making yourself, whatever comes out must be replenished.
So if you keep having sex till you start making babies and all of that, and you're not eating the kind of food that will be replacing the sperm for you, that leads to the inflammation of the prostate or prostatitis or cancer of the prostate or whatever. But it starts with certain symptoms. Maybe you can't pass urine very well and they need to put a catheter for you to passing the urine through all of that. And there are certain food you eat them, and this can reverse the situation for everyone.
What is a good food for prostate?
One of them is the watermelon I was talking about, because it's a very rich, but they must know how to eat them. That's why a dietitian comes in, because the nutritionist is telling you that watermelon is very rich for the kidney and the prostate and the bladder. You know, they are
all interlinked.
And then you just
I'm going to eat so much watermelon you have no idea.
And your husband
I'm going to eat so much
watermelon, and then they eat it morning, afternoon, evening and all that. You can't eat watermelon to go to bed with, because it's a water fruit, and you mustn't eat it when you are going to bed, because it will wake you up too many times in the night,
your sleep.
and it's not good for your sleep as well, because you must rest enough. It is the time you are sleeping, then repair is taking place in your system. So when you want to work on your kidney and the prostate, you start the day with watermelon.
Hey, I'm going to buy it immediately.
Men who are 40 years
and above.
Okay. But before then, before you are 40, if you make up a habit, or your sons, your small boys of 4 years, 5 years, you teach them to be eating the watermelon at home. By the time they grow, they'll pass through these ages without having problem with their prostate.
What about pawpaw? What's pawpaw good for?
Oh, that's another fruit I love so much. It's good for the digestive system.
Is it the ripe? Or because you have the ripe pawpaw and you have the unripe pawpaw. Which is better?
Both. Okay. All of them. For pawpaw, even the green one that is not ripe yet at all. You can even make a soup with it. You can, chop it very nicely and add it and make vegetable soup with it. It's very nice, very rich. It helps to digest you very well. The more you digest, the easier.
What's a good food for your heart?
Oh, for heart, we have the avocado pear. It's a very rich food for the heart. We have the mangoes are very good for the heart. The oranges, oranges. What it does is an antioxidant. It goes into the arteries and remove all plaques that are building up in your arteries, preventing the free flow of blood.
So could you have watermelon pieces and drink a glass of orange juice, or they're contraindicated?
The day you eat watermelon,
don't
eat any other fruits.
Okay. Not even at the night. I can't start the morning with watermelon and eat pawpaw at night.
No.
Well, we're going to have, we have to go for a commercial break. When we come back, we have fruits, and then you're going to talk us into the best way to eat those fruits. Because I think that, everything is about habit. We can try now that, as you said, we're much older and we're having little symptoms now. We want to eat healthy. But if we can teach our children, or we can start giving our children the good sources of nutrition, they can hopefully grow with that habit, and then we'll be trying to, ameliorate all these diseases and things that we've been having. Okay, now welcome back to the show. And as I mentioned to you earlier, we have Yvonne with me here, and she's going to talk us through some samples of healthy things we should be eating, fruits and vegetables, some of the healthy things we need to have on our menus on a day-to-day basis. And also for us who are mothers, how we can teach our children, start the habit of cultivating the habit of eating healthy at home. Okay, so now you're going to tell us a little bit about everything.
Okay.
And what it's good for.
Can I just pick the bowl and
Yes, of course you can.
Yeah, you can see in this bowl we have brown rice, my favorite grain. In every grain, the bags are where the nutrients are. So when they bleach it and becomes a white rice.
Okay, so this is how it starts, and then they bleach it and
bleach it, and then they remove all the inner bags, and then it becomes white.
And that's what we love.
Yeah, at that stage it has become only carbohydrates, so you don't have enough of fibers in them. Although it's still good, because grain, the rice is also very rich food for the kidneys, the livers, and the reproductive system. Especially this one helps in reproduction, for women who are suffering from fibroid and the rest of that. It's very rich for them to use it. And then when you when you're boiling this rice, the first stage of the water that is boiling, you can scoop it, keep it down to cool, and then you give it to a child that is bedwetting. It helps to strengthen the kidneys.
Oh, okay.
Now we have cabbage. Cabbage is a very rich one of the food for people with ulcers, stomach ulcer, and peptic ulcer, or you can't digest very well. And goiter. People who suffer from goiter, that thing that goes, that's a thyroid problem.
Yes.
So this food is very good for them.
Cabbage.
Now avocado pear. That's another very good friend for the heart.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
There are some schools of thought that say avocado is high in cholesterol. Is that true or not?
We have good cholesterol and bad cholesterol.
Yes.
And avocado pear has very good cholesterol in it.
Okay.
The kind of fat you get from avocado pear, in the system, we need some form of cholesterol or oil in our body to help circulation, the joint especially, where the bones are meeting, for you to rotate.
Make them supple.
Make them supple.
Okay.
So pear is very good at that. The fruit itself is good for the heart. You can use it to replace the butter you are used to.
Okay.
You can put it in your bread.
Yes.
And then
Exactly.
sandwich is
Yes.
ready.
That's it.
And that's it. You have a glass of water, or you make yourself some nice juice at home.
Okay.
With either watermelon or orange juice.
Fresh juice.
Fresh
Not
juice.
those carton juices that are filled with so much sugar and concentrate.
No. Sugar, I told you, is one of the killer foods. So must not.
But then we
add
can
it to-
substitute honey, can't
Yes.
we?
Honey.
Substitute with honey.
Yes, you can substitute honey.
me.
Honey to replace sugar, but honey must not be taken by pregnant women, breastfeeding, nursing mothers, and a baby under 1 year.
Okay. And why is that?
Yeah, because there are the immunity of the baby under 1 year is not strong enough to fight certain bacteria that are deposited in the
honey.
From the inside of the bee into the honey. So that's about this plate. Tomatoes is also very rich food, for our food and whatever we make, but especially men, it's good for them, for the prostate and all of that. So
Tomato juice.
tomato juice, you can also just parboil it and remove the immediate bark and add it to your food and eat it like that, which is very good for every part of your system. It has a lot of nutrients in it. That one you have to come to office to come in.
You've sold yourself a little there. So with our next bowl, we have lettuce.
Lettuce.
Okay.
Lettuce is one of the best food for us because you can quickly chew and it will help you to digest. The goats and the fowls and the cows, they chew a lot of grasses. And so they open their bowels all the time and, throw off their waste from their system. So lettuce does that for us.
So how can we, as you're just talking us through, how can we actually get our children to eat more vegetables?
As for baby children, the very day a child is born, that child knows nothing except what the mother teaches him or her.
Okay.
Very well.
So now we have cucumber there.
Cucumber. It's a very, very beautiful vegetable.
Now I'm going
see,
to ask you
feel
another
it.
thing. Very firm.
No, apart from that, the temperature.
Cool.
So it's a
cool.
blood coolant.
Cool. Now I see people always taking off the back of it.
Yeah.
I
You
like
see,
to eat a cucumber with the skin.
It's a vegetable that is rich both the back and the inside. All you need to do is make sure that you wash it very well and add lemon juice to the water when you are washing it.
Okay. Is vinegar? Vinegar is also a substitute, isn't it?
Yeah,
you can use a bit of vinegar.
Yeah, you can use a bit of vinegar, but let it be like apple cider vinegar.
Okay.
So because those things, if you are not careful, you are damaging the liver.
They
as
go
well.
inside. Accumulation.
So the lemon is very good for our livers, our kidneys, and the rest. So if you use it to wash your food, your vegetables, you are still adding more a plus
onto
your
what is
health.
it? Okay. Now we were off air when you were telling my cameraman that lemon is better than lime.
Yes.
And that's why, because lime has a lot more.
Lime has a lot more of acid in it, so it's a bit harsh to the liver when you are taking it. But the lemon is very, very, very good for the liver and the kidney. Okay. And even it cleanses our system and make you to flush out a lot of toxins from the inside.
Okay. Now we go on to the oranges.
This food is also very good for women in menopause. When you have hot flashes, internal heat, and all of that. So because you see, it's very cool.
Tons of cucumber.
So when you eat, it's a blood coolant. So when you eat it, it keeps the.
But
blood
I can tell you about cucumber from a vain woman's point of view. You place them on your eyes.
Your eyes, yes.
As eye patches, and they're supposed to help.
It helps
your bags
cool down the temperature or the hypertension of the eye, preventing glaucoma and all of that.
Yes, so that's also a good thing. So we have orange.
Orange, that's another good, nice fruit. Can see this one
organically grown. It's sour.
The bitter food are the best food for our system,
Bitter leaf, like the Nigerian man eats bitter leaf.
Bitter food is the best food for our system. Ask me why.
Why? I'm asking you why.
The liver, the gallbladder, and the bile, and the pancreas.
Yes.
Those organs deal with bitter things. When you are running fever, and your mother makes you a cup of tea with milk and sugar, and you don't even want to take it.
The neem tree leaf.
The neem tree leaf, very bitter. They add guava leaf, mango leaf, pawpaw leaf, boil them together and give you to drink some, bath some, and then use some to inhale you. By the time you finish that,
the fever has run away.
the fever peaks race and runs away. So that's why those organs get revived when you eat a lot of bitter things. So the more bitter food you eat, the healthier.
For it. Hey, and I like sweet things.
So the oranges, when they come out in season immediately, they are bitter sweet.
Yes.
Those are the ones you should eat. Every fruit are best in their season.
Okay. So we need to now watch the seasons and know what is in season, and then eat at the time.
Yes.
When it is
when
in
you
season.
Eat them season. Yes. When the orange is in season, eat as much as you can. Okay. When the mangoes are in season, eat as much as you can.
Because as well as when it's in season, it's also cheaper, and then it allows you to eat.
Sorry, you are just answering the question you asked me earlier.
I know. I'm learning so quick on the show today. Now we've got pawpaw.
Pawpaw is another fruit. You can use both the bag, the inside, and the seed. You know, very rich fruit. It's good for the digestion. It takes away fevers. It helps you to, blood circulation. And the seed is one of the best dewormer God has given to man. If you just take the seed and you blend it together after it is dry, and then you add it to cocoa or pap and give it to your children to take first thing in the morning, it helps them to remove all the worms
that they have.
So you can use it once a while for them. Or those who can tolerate chewing it fresh, when you peel it, you can chew it together with the fruit. Some people don't tolerate it, but it's very good.
It's very good.
That's the pawpaw.
Now pineapple, my favorite fruit, pineapple, but it's so acidic that, I know a dentist once said to me that I should watch the amount of pineapple that I eat because of the acidity and the enamel on my tooth.
You see, pineapple these days, because of its commercial business that is going on, they don't allow it to ripe in the
natural form.
In the natural form before it comes to us, and that's the reason why you are looking at the acidic part of it. But if now they are spraying it with the pesticides as well, and it's it's very risky for us. If you want to peel pineapple, you have to peel it very deep.
Because there's pesticide that's caught onto the... But don't they use the same pesticides for these fruits?
These are organically grown,
Yes, but I know they're organically, but I'm saying those who are commercially growing them...
The commercial ones, that is why when you go to the market, you look very well before you buy.
Okay, now, organically, then what... You've taught us that organically grown vegetables and fruits are the smaller ones.
You will know the difference
when you see the difference. You see, when
just
you
like
see
this
a
banana.
huge cucumber, know that it's certainly not a natural one. Now,
looking at this banana, you can see that is a very natural one.
Yes.
But the ones that has some chemicals in them, they are puffy.
Oh, they look nice and yellow. They look nice and yellow. So why is it that what is supposed to be good for us is not necessarily attractive?
What? Because so that the layman would not overlook it and miss it.
Okay.
So pineapple is also a very good digestive fruit.
Okay.
And then when you juice it, it helps in the bladder for you to pee. But when you eat it as a fruit, it helps to digest you, and at the same time, the juice in it will
Tell
help
me something.
in your bladder.
You had advised that we don't mix fruits. So
some fruits.
Some fruits. So someone was saying we should eat yellow fruits together. That's the way we should eat them. So if I'm eating yellow fruits, I should eat yellow fruits. And if I'm eating like the red fruits, the red fruits. Is that how we have to color code our fruits?
Yeah, when you, that too is very good. When you, the yellow fruits together and eat the red fruits together.
Okay.
But there are some of the red fruits that you cannot mix them with other fruit, like the watermelon.
The jealous fruit.
The jealous fruit.
Okay.
It's a fruit that wouldn't want to be mixed with any other fruits at all. Because the science have discovered that it destroys the nutritional value of other fruits, and itself will not give you whatever you need.
Okay.
Now, banana is my best friend. It's
potassium.
It's potassium. Good for energy. And also if you have ulcer, a very bad ulcer, before you eat your meal after a long day, you eat one finger of banana first. It's very rich. So you eat, when you come back home, you haven't had any food throughout the day, you are very hungry. You have ulcer, so you eat your banana first. After eating the banana, it goes to seal the sore in the stomach.
Okay, and then you can then
preventing any of the chemical foods you might eat from
touching the sore.
Now,
I'm sure you're also conscious of the fact that we're in cholera. There's cholera is very prevalent at the moment. So it's very important for us to wash our fruits
before we eat
and
them.
our vegetables, because we're not processing them. We're eating them raw.
Yes.
So like you advised, we get good nutritional value from lemon. So let's use a lot of lemon, squeeze lemon, and you wash your fruits and your vegetables, please, people.
Very
wash
well.
your fruits and vegetables, please. Now, last but not least, I mean, this is just a sample of healthy foods. And I guess if, for starters, if you introduce this into your diet, I think you should be doing quite well. Just this little selection that we have here. If you were to introduce it into your diet, would you not be doing well?
Yeah, you will.
You would be doing well. I think just a bit of grain and a bit of green and a bit of fruit. Last but not least, we have your whole wheat bread.
But if you remember the Garden of Eden, there was no process. There was no kitchen for Eve to
No
cook any food.
blender.
No blender.
Microwave.
No kitchen. No stove. No anything. And everything was being done straight from the fruit, the trees, to the stomach. And they were very healthy until man had to look for their way. So information plus correct choices is equal to good health for us. Yeah.
Information plus correct choices. Now you heard it from Yvonne. She's been our nutritionist here, and I hope that, for me, I've been educated this morning. I think I knew it already, but it drives home more and more the fact that we need to eat healthier so that we can live. I'm not quite sure if we can increase the number of years we live, but that we can live good lives, healthy lives. Because, you know, there are people who get sick and they're bedridden for years because obviously their time is not yet up, as they say.
And they suffer.
And they suffer. So to cut that suffering, so that, you know, when it's time for you to go, you go very easy. Well,
you don't need to get sick and be bedridden for years if you eat right.
If you eat right, you don't have to.
You age gracefully. When it's time, you just go. If you study the people in the Bible, you know, Abraham, they were not bedridden. And when it was time,
and they lived to ripe old ages, which we are not getting to this year. Anyway, we want to thank you so much for your time here today. It's been a real pleasure. Before I let you viewers go, my quote to say bye-bye to you is from Anne Wigmore. And she says, your health is what you make of it. Everything you do and think either adds to the vitality, energy, and spirit you possess or takes away from it. So as she says, you are what you eat.